let me check that why they are doing the grid thing. Okay. Anyway, the good thing is छोड़ो यार, अब सब अब अच्छी चीजें पढ़ते हैं अपन, है ना? Okay, so okay, let's talk good things, है ना? Guys, last time screen share कर लेता हूँ आप लोग के साथ एक बार. I open folder. Okay, I'll share this one, and then let me get a browser also. This one, sharing screen. Okay. And this is our browser. Let's do sponsor 3 as always. Okay. Okay, so what had we covered in the last class? Okay, so guys, first thing we covered is the if else, right? And the if else ladder. I've just written down all the things that we've covered here. So 6 is what we can refer to. ये हमने last class में किया था. We had talked about loop in JavaScript, and हमने देखा था how we can use loops to write a whole table of 2. And then we saw that, that button thingy where we click this and it was actually counting the number of clicks, right? And then we saw that how can we, change some sort of style, make it bold, change the color or whatever, right? Whenever we click this button, right? Right. So we realized that iske liye why we need if and else. Then we also realized that we were not covering the is equal to wala condition here. We did that. So bottom line is if and else, they take conditions. And of course, when you're defining conditions, it's good to, it's great to have to use the or, the and operators very fluently, right? Because they're much needed, right? So these are logical operators, as we know, and logical operator hota hai, or logical operator hota hai, whatever, right? So today, and yeah, loop everyone is aware of, right? Loop everyone is aware of. Do we want any revision on loop or clear? Clear लिख दो chat पे. Revision लिख दो जिसको दोबारा करना है एक बार. I'll just quickly tell you. Yes, we will be doing one more loop today. ठीक है भाई, loop पढ़ लेते हैं थोड़ा सा. आ जाओ guys जल्दी से. Cool. This was a function which was click me, not needed anymore. Let's do an easy question, okay? So the question is like this, right? Basically, you need to print the Fibonacci series. I'll just take one example. आप लोगों को DSA में भी काम आ जाएगा. Does anyone know what Fibonacci series is? तालिब आपको आता है? Hey Mayank, how can you not know this, yaar? What? Did you guys not have math in school, college? Okay, no problem. मैं बता देता हूँ. Okay, so Fibonacci series is like this. Okay, board तो दिख ही रहा है. 0, 1, 1 again, 2, 3, 5, 8, and so on. It's an infinite series of numbers. Okay, so how does it work? बहुत simple है. आपको पहली 2 terms define करनी होती हैं. So I'm saying the first term is 0 and this term is 1. Okay, then every term after that, right, from this term onward, is basically a sum of the last 2 terms. Okay, so 1 is a sum of 0 and 1, right? 2 is a sum of 1 and 1. 3 is a sum of 2 and 1. 5 is a sum of 2 and 3. 8 is a sum of 5 and 3. Clear? Guys, clear? समझ में आ गया? बहुत simple सा है, कुछ complex नहीं है. Everyone clear now? Every term is basically a sum of the last two terms. Okay. If I have to write in the language of mathematics, right? So t of n, right, is equal to t of n minus 1 plus t of n minus 2. Clear? Oh, I can be a math teacher. I'm pretty good at it actually. Anyway, this is good. T of n. ये क्या कह रहे हैं कि nth term is basically a sum of n minus 1th term and n minus 2nd term. A plus n minus d, AP का फॉर्मूला होता है धीरज सर, सोच के तो बोलो. No, not AP, not GP. This is an infinitely convergent series. Let me not get into sequences and series. Otherwise, you guys are going to hate me even more. ठीक है, चलो. So the question is this. The question is very simply this. Print the first 100 Fibonacci numbers. 100 बहुत ज़्यादा होता है actually. 50 Fibonacci numbers. 50 Fib numbers ऐसे लिख देते हैं, ठीक है? Function. So I'm creating a function. I'm calling it Fib. Okay. Right. What does it have to do? It has to do the job of console.logging 50 numbers. Okay. Cool. Okay. So how do we do this? Very simple. We are going to. Can anyone guess how we can do this? Some mathematical person or some computer science person. बताओ प्रदीप कैसे करेंगे? For loop तो पक्का है मित. Good. Bharti, do you want to come on? Can I unmute you? Do you want to talk us through it? Bharti? Okay. Today Bharti is going to speak. Nice. Go ahead, Bharti.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Bharti.
Fibonacci series is basically a series in which we will add the first two numbers. We'll be having two terms, Tn and Tn plus 1. Let's suppose we are having first term as 0. We'll assign two terms. First we'll assign 0, then we'll assign 1.
Okay.
This is Tn, this is Tn plus 1. And now we'll get the third term, that is 1 again, because 0 plus 1 is 1.
Okay.
Then
So
we'll, before the loop,
go on.
loop, we'll assign two numbers, that is Tnth term and Tn plus 1 term, and then we'll continue it in the loop.
So okay, I'm creating one term which is called Tnth. Okay. I'm creating another term which is Tnth minus 1. How do I write minus 1? Minus 1. Okay, and Tnth minus 2. Okay. अब क्या करना है भाभी?
Now we'll assign Tn minus 2 is equal to 0.
Tnth minus 2 is equal to 0. Okay. Let's say I'm just declaring variables, and Tnth minus 1 is equal to 1. Okay, done.
Now we'll have a for loop. Brilliant. If we want to print 10 terms, then we'll
50 का
make
बताओ.
this loop 8 times.
50 का बताओ.
50, then we'll make this loop 48 times.
Okay, how do I write that? Help me with the code.
I equals to, let I equals to.
Okay, let I equals to.
Equals to 0.
Okay.
I is less than equal to 50.
I less than equal to 50. Okay. And
I plus plus. So I less than 50. Huh?
Okay. So how many times is this loop going to run? Anyone?
So 50 times.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir. 0 to 49.
Awesome.
Then sir, we'll be printing, that is Tnth minus 1 and Tnth minus 2. Console.log.
Okay. Console.log what? Log what?
Tnth minus 1 and Tnth minus 2.
प्लस करना है इसको, how do we do that?
So that we'll do after.
ठीक है,
पहले हम प्रिंट करेंगे, अदरवाइज से 0 और 1 प्रिंट नहीं होगा.
डन, लिख दिया.
Then say tnth. Tnth is equal to 2 tnth minus 1 plus tnth minus 2.
Okay. Okay, what else?
Wait a minute, sir. I'm getting a little bit confused.
Okay, Bharti, I'll ask you for the first question. This line, जो आपने लिखवाया है यहाँ पे, how many times is this going to get printed?
So actually, sir, ये line loop के बाहर आएगी.
Correct, because we don't want this action to be printed. So we'll just take this line and we'll move it
before 4, and then we'll print tnth term
बढ़िया.
inside the loop.
After this, should I print it after this or before this? ये बताओ.
So after this.
Okay, console.log tnth. Okay, this spelling is wrong. Okay, will this do it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so this is going to be term number 1. This is going to be term number 2. And then basically this guy runs for 50 times. So we have, you've printed 52 terms, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
How many did you want to print?
50.
So how do we fix this?
48.
कैसे करें fix?
I less than 48. Or say we can start with I equals to 2.
Cool.
Because 2 numbers we have printed.
Why will it not work, Javed? To say 50 तक, how many times is the loop going to run?
Values are updated. Yes, sir.
चलेगा भारती?
नहीं, sir.
क्या problem है?
We have to update the value, that is t minus 1. T minus 2 is equal to t minus 1 and t nth is equal to this.
बताओ.
We have to shift 2 numbers.
Okay, how do I do that?
T nth minus 2 is equal to t minus 1.
T
nth minus 1.
Okay.
And t nth minus 1 is equal to t nth.
T nth, huh?
Yes, sir.
अब ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
Let's run this, guys. Fib. I'm just calling the function fib, right? And let's just see the result on the Chrome console. Okay, I'll reload the page and it should call the function and everything should happen, right? Go. Wow, something happened here for sure. Does it work, guys? समझ में आया सबको क्या हुआ? And just to see how many terms we've printed, what I'm going to do is, इधर देखो, it's not infinite, yaar. This is still here. Okay, what I'm going to do is, I'll have my counter variable, right? Counter is equal to 0. Okay, this is for my personal thing. Okay, जितनी बार हम इन terms को console.log करेंगे, I'm just going to increment the counter by that many value ताकि पता लग जाए हमने 50 terms डाली हैं कि ज़्यादा डाली हैं, right? So after logging these 2 terms, अपना counter हो गया guys 2. Okay, and then inside this loop, I will increment the counter by 1 each time. Okay, or I can say counter is equal to counter plus 1, up to you. Or I can say counter plus is equal to 1, right? And finally, हम यहाँ पे console.log कर देंगे counter. और even better, इन दोनों को साथ में लॉक करते हैं एक ही लाइन में, right? चलो, let's reload this and let's see what happens. So counter here is 0. Okay, why is that happening? Let's start from here. Counter here is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 all the way. Counter is 250. So definitely हमने 50 ही terms lock किए हैं. Here there is a discrepancy because counter initially 0 था. So you got the point, I think. But is everyone clear what just happened here? guys, are we clear? क्या किया हमने यहाँ पे? See, very simple. I said Fibonacci series. See, it's 3 because आपने यहाँ पे 2 लिखा है. यहाँ पे you said counter plus 1 and आपने log बाद में किया. So it became 3 here, right? And you basically, ठीक है. Let me explain this again. Counter को भूल जाओ एक बार के लिए. What I have done, very simple, right? What is Fibonacci series? This is Fibonacci series. We know the nth term is basically a sum of n minus 1 term plus n minus second term. Cool. What I did is, guys, will you stop posting the code on the chat, please? It's distracting everyone, right? If you've done it, very nice, but let's just focus on what I'm trying to say, huh? Okay, so the way we model this is, we know that, hey, if we have to add two numbers X number of times, what you need, guys, is you need to have a loop because you need to perform that action repeatedly, bar karna hai, right? So idhar dekhiye, what I have done is, for implementing that, I have taken 3 variables. Variable JavaScript mein let's say define karte hain. So I created one variable which is tnth minus 1 and tnth minus 2, right? Okay, so like I said, Fibonacci series yahan se start hota hai. I said tnth minus 2 is 0, tnth minus 1 is 1, okay? And basically मैंने यहाँ पे वो दोनों लॉक करा दिया, very simply, okay? Let me just log it in different lines. So, right? So t minus 2 will be 0, तो 0 log हो गया. T minus 1 will be 1, तो 1 log हो गया, right? अब हमें बाकी का आगे करना है. So we realize that, hey, हमने 2 numbers तो already log कर दिया. Now we need to take care of the rest 48 numbers. For that, what we did is, we started our loop, I is equal to 2, I less than 50, I plus plus. So basically this action is going to get repeated 48 number of times, okay? First thing I did is I said, hey, tnth is equal to tnth minus 2 plus tn minus 1. What that did is, it made tn is equal to 0 plus 1 this time, which is 1, okay? हमने वो चीज लॉक कर दी. Let me just move it here for your ease, okay? हमने वो चीज लॉक तो कर दी. Now, see, just look at this very carefully. This was tn minus 1, this was tn minus 2, right? And you wanted this value. So we added these two, right? हमने उस चीज को लॉक किया on line number 229, okay? Secondly, move this also. Then what you need to do, guys, is you need to move these pointers to the right, right? Because अब ये वाला जो number है will be a sum of this guy and this guy. So I said, hey, tnth minus 2 is tnth minus 1. मतलब जो पुराना वाला tnth minus 1 था उससे एक आगे बढ़ जाओ. And tnth minus 1 जो पहले यहाँ पे था, that comes one step forward, right? Then finally, tnth, this guy is basically now 1 plus 1, which is 2, right? लूप दोबारा चला, हमने उसको लॉक कर दिया, right? Finally, हमने दोबारा numbers change किए and we just keep moving forward like this. This is what this loop is doing. Guys, everyone clear now? Piyush, Sai, Shubham, Piyush, Sai, and Shubham. 3 of you. Are you clear? Piyush, Shubham, ab theek hai na? Okay, nice. कुछ भी नहीं है, guys. If you just implement this, वैभव को clear नहीं है. No problem. वैभव क्या नहीं समझ में आया? Where are you stuck, Vaibhav? No, fib is the name of the function. Did you not understand anything? Is that what you mean? Vaibhav sir, बताओ तो क्या नहीं समझ में आया? Is it the loop? Is it, what is it? t nth minus 2 से बताओ. ठीक है. what have we done यहाँ पे समझ लेते हैं. Okay. See, if you guys understood this very well, let me do this. No, I will definitely not give small variable names because large variable names help you understand what that variable is doing. Giving variables like name like A, B, C, D will make no sense. Okay. Maybe this was a complicated example for some of you. Do you want me to take a simpler example for the ones who are not understanding? See, guys, what I have done here is I just took one question from data structure algorithm and I implemented that for you in JavaScript, which is a good thing for you. ठीक है, but अगर नहीं समझ में आ रहा तो we are here to learn loops. Simple example से देख लेते हैं. ठीक है. People who understood, very good. People who did not understand, you'll understand now, so it will be good. ठीक है. Okay. But again, यार, I had explained a simple example, Prashant. Table वाला. उस दिन आपने पूछा नहीं दोबारा. Okay, I'll just leave it here. If this makes sense for you later, then use it. Table of 2. Table of 3. Okay, what are we trying to do here? We are trying to print the table of 3, right? So what is the table of 3? It goes like this: 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and ... right? Right? So how to do that? Hey, we know for a fact that we need to repeat an action 10 times. Okay. So first of all, how do you repeat an action 10 times? Of course, you use loops. How do you write a loop? You say for let I is equal to 0. It's saying that, hey, start the variable I from 0. Keep I less than 10. Then say I plus plus. Okay. Keep I less than 10 and I plus plus. So what will be the values of I? I सबसे पहले 0 होगा, फिर 1 होगा, फिर 2 होगा, फिर 3 होगा, फिर 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 जब होगा I, तो you will still get inside this loop, यहाँ पे 9 to 39. The moment it turns 10, because of I plus plus वाला condition, 10 is not less than 10, so you will come out of the loop. Okay. So what we are going to do here is we are simply going to say console.log. ठीक है, आपको पहला क्या करना है? 3, 1, 3 1s are 3, 3 2s are 6, right? So abhi I to 0 se start ho raha hai. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it from 1. Matlab I can't change I. What I'll say is I plus 1. And finally here I'll say 3 star. Star matlab multiply. So what this will do is jab I 0 hai, it will print 3 into 1, which is 3. Next time you go up, I x increment hoga, it will become 1. 3 into 2, because 1 plus 1 is 2. And that's how you'll keep going down, right? And I'll just call this function to call this. Go back here to the browser, reload, and the table of 3 is in front of you. Now, Prashant, ab samajh mein aaya? Prashant, aap bhi batao. ठीक है? कुछ भी कॉम्प्लेक्स तो किया ही नहीं है यहाँ पे. Okay, so for loop तो समझ आ गया भाई, बढ़िया. Right? But I really recommend कि इसको सीखो यार. This is an important one. मतलब this was just my I just wanted to take data structures also, so I just did that in some sense. Okay, cool. So we know how to print Fibonacci numbers. We know how to print a table of 3, right? I'm not super happy about table of 3. कोई बात नहीं. ठीक है, guys, आज का टॉपिक जो मैंने सोचा था, it's called the while loop, right? ये भी समझ आया, but t minus 2 is equal to t nth minus 1. अंकित, अगर आपको कोई चीज 48 टाइम्स रिपीट करनी है, राइट, तो आप क्या करोगे? Either you can say this is 0 and you can say this is less than 48, right? That is one way to write it, right? इधर देखो अंकित, खत्म करते हैं इस चीज को. If something goes from 0 to less than 48, right? So what are the values of I? I क्या values achieve करेगा? I achieve करेगा 0, 1, 2, 3, da 47, right? I ये सारी values achieve करेगा. 0 से 47 तक there are 48 numbers. So that's 48. Okay. क्या मैं similar चीज को ऐसे नहीं कर सकता that I से I goes from 2 to 50, right? For the mathematical ones, I've just added 2 on both sides of the equation. 2 से 50 का क्या मतलब होगा? It will start from 2, 3, 4, 5, da 50, not 50, 49, right? 2 to 49, 48 numbers होते हैं. So if I write it from 0 to 48 or 2 to 50, how does it matter? मैंने बस 2 to 50 लिख दिया, अंकित. प्रॉब्लम क्या है? समझ में आ गया अंकित? यार करना तो वही है ना. You have to take the for finding the t nth term. आपको पीछे वाली 2 को ऐड करना है, right? And आपको अपने पॉइंटर को मूव करते जाना है. Because once you have calculated say t of 2, what you need to do is for calculating t of 3, the n minus 1 and n minus 2, they have to update. When I say they have to update, it means they have to change their values. तो जो पहले 0 और 1 था, इस बार वो 1 और 1 होना था, right? So what I did is t nth minus 1 is equal to t nth minus 2, and t nth minus 1 is equal to t nth. तभी तो 2 की वैल्यू कैलकुलेट होगी. Prashant, Sai, I would really want you to understand this. If you don't, it's not a problem, but if you do, it's better. Guys, speak up now, yaar. Pratibha, what are you saying? What do you think I have written on line number 227? पढ़ो तो सही. सबको समझ में आ गया ना, guys? See, this is nice for you. TSA अभी से सीख लोगे तो अच्छा है, guys. वेट मत करो. क्लियर है या नहीं? सब बोलो yes unanimously. I want my chat flooded with yeses or no's if you don't understand, but say something. बस बढ़िया. And that's how you do it. Nice. बहुत बढ़िया, guys. Very, very happy about it. Okay. So the point that I'm trying to make is loop का काम होता है चीजें repeat कराना. Loop उससे ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं समझ आता. Now, how do you intelligently repeat them is entirely up to you, right? So what I did just now is I have intelligently repeated something मेरा काम करने के लिए. मेरा काम क्या था, guys? I just wanted to, print numbers from print Fibonacci numbers. I did that. Okay. Now, having said that, क्योंकि हम loop की बात कर रहे थे, let's talk about another type of loop. This guy is called the while loop. The while loop, right? And this guy was called the for loop. Okay. So for loop and while loop. Okay. The cool thing about while loop is that it is one of the fastest loop in JavaScript, right? That's the cool thing about it. Syntax is not at all relevant. So cool. How does it work? Same चीज करते हैं. Let's start with the table of 3. Okay. मतलब थोड़ा सा थ्योरी की बात भी कर ही लेते हैं यार. So in for loop, there was basically a variable, right, which was taking values from this up until this condition was true, and वो इतने increments पे जा रहा था. While loop में क्या होता है, guys? While loop में आपके पास एक condition होती है. Until that condition is true, the while loop will keep running. If it's not true, then the while loop will stop. Okay. So समझते हैं. The syntax is like this. So you say while in small, then there is this bracket inside which you write condition, right? And then of course the brackets, जो action आपको बार-बार repeat करना है, right? So just to take an example, let's say you had to print the table of 3 again, right? What would that look like? Function table of 3 with while. Okay. Now what you do here is very simple. You say while. What I'm going to do is, just to make things easy, I'll take a variable, let I is equal to 0, something like that, right? और यहाँ पे मैं लिखूंगा while I is less than 10, right? क्या करते जाओ? Keep saying console.log. I don't know, console.log 3 star I plus 1. Okay. What is that going to do? Basically, it will keep writing this. It will keep console.logging 3 star I plus 1, right? Lekin this code has one problem, right? The problem is, क्या I की value कभी change हो रही है? Can anyone tell me I की value कभी change हो रही है? No, नहीं हो रही. So basically, Sai, what kind of a loop is this? I is always going to be less than 10, right? So what have we created here? It's an endless loop or an infinite loop, right? So how can we fix this? We can increment I. I plus plus अंदर नहीं use कर पाओगे, because यहाँ पे it's a condition that you write. What you can do is, यहाँ पे you can say I plus plus. That's it, right? And let's try running this code, of course, on our browser. Right, I press enter, and the table of 3 is here. Got it, guys? Okay, so we used the while loop for writing the table of 3. मुझे पता था किशोर पूछेगा ये. देखो क्या हुआ. आपने दो स्टेटमेंट्स एक साथ लिखे. ये I का वैल्यू है which is coming as 9. So don't worry about it. But now you guys will not be convinced, and I'll have to run this again. कर देते हैं. देखो इधर. Okay, ये फंक्शन मैंने यहाँ पे लिख दिया. I'll just call this function. अब तो नहीं आया ना किशोर भाई 9. Am I safe now? So basically, in while loop, you have a condition, and that's what is. There is no, so to say, variable of this loop. Like for loop always runs on a variable, right? There's a variable which starts from here, gets incremented by this, has this condition imposed on that variable, और तभी loop चलता है, right? लेकिन while loop में क्या होता है? You just have a condition. Until that condition is true, ये loop चलता रहता है. जैसे ही वो condition false होती है, वो loop बंद हो जाता है. ठीक है? ठीक है? Guys, clear? Guys, clear है? Okay. So I have a doubt. भाई अजय doubt ही पूछ लो ना. I have a doubt क्यों लिख रहे हो यार? वैसे ही chat कम होती है क्या? पूछो. अजय भाई वेट कर रहा हूँ, जल्दी से पूछ लो यार. अगर यहाँ पे नहीं लिखा है +1, so I is less than 10. अच्छा, okay, no, I got it. आप मुझे बताओ 3 into 0 क्या होगा? Because I is starting from 0. So do you want to start your table with 0? Okay, that's why. या अगर वो करना है तो यहाँ पे इसको 1 कर दो, I को less than 11 कर दो, या फिर less than equal to की कंडीशन डाल दो, तब भी सेम हो जाएगा. And then remove this. Done. This is also the same thing. ठीक है? But why can't we say I plus plus inside the first bracket? कौन सा bracket है अंकित जहाँ पे I plus plus लिखना है? कहाँ बोल रहे हो भाई? यहाँ पे बोल रहे हो? कहाँ पे बोल रहे हो? लाइन नंबर बोलो ना. लाइन नंबर है लेफ्ट में आपके. So first of things different between while loop and for loop. line 251. Saurabh, that's what I'm telling you, na yaar. What do you think I just told about? In for loop, there is a variable which is having values from this, is less than this, and keeps incrementing. They do the same job, right? It's just a way of saying, it's just a way of repeating things. So in here, you repeat something for based on a variable. ये भाई तरुण क्या पूछ रहे हो यार, चुप हो जाओ थोड़ी देर. इधर देखो, for loop और while loop का difference एक बारी में समझ लो. In for loop, what you do is you have a loop variable which keeps incrementing, and then whatever you want to repeat, you repeat. While loop is completely different in the sense, काम वो भी same ही करता है. It also repeats things, but the way it repeats things is this. Okay. It has a condition. Until this condition remains true, loop चलता रहता है. Once this condition becomes false, loop बंद हो जाता है. In our case यहाँ पे, when is the condition getting false? हमने बोला I is less than equal to 10. तो जैसे ही I 11 होगा, condition रुक जाएगी. ठीक है? Balram भाई, how do I print things here if I don't write console.log? आप बताओ मुझे. What do you want me to do? Console.log is for printing things, right? To the console. If I don't know console.log, how are these values going to come here? What are you going to see? Let's say I remove this. Then what happens? I'm copying this code again. I'm calling table of 3 again, right? Basically this is happening because it's taking the older one. And now this is happening because in table of 3, there must be some other console.log. Let me remove that. Okay, now let's look at this. Okay, so now you have this function, right? Which does the exact same thing. You call table of 3, and it's printing this because index.js made this. So no, it's just taking precedence over that. I'll open it here. What happened? We called the function. This thing definitely ran, but कोई value ही नहीं आया ना. So don't you want to see the result, Balram? Okay, anyway, I think that's clear. That's not even our question. Okay, are we clear with while loop? What is while loop? Any questions? Does anyone have any questions? Ask the question. Don't say, yes, I have a question. Ask the question, Sida. It really depends on your use case, of course. So see, there could be a case where you don't have bounds, right? You don't know. Okay, I'll give you an example. Okay, so let's say there is continuous data that you're getting. Okay, and if the data has one particular character, okay, मतलब मान लो आपको एक stream of letters आ रही है, which is like A, E, X, F, G, H, whatever, right? When you are getting these things in a stream, you don't know. So a stream has no beginning, no end, right? But let's say अगर एक alphabet आ गया P, right? Then I want to stop. Then I want to stop printing, or I want to stop whatever, right? So in this case, you can put condition on that thing, right? Getting my point? So I'll give you an example. Let's say there was no increment here, right? Function print something. Okay, I'll say while again, यहाँ पे I'll take a variable I is equal to, I don't know, 0 again, and I'll say I not equal to 11, right? And then I say I plus plus, similar type का वो है, and just console.log I, right? So basically here we have said जब तक I 11 नहीं हो जाता, tab tak it just keeps going, right? If it so happens that I touches 11, then the loop breaks, right? So the point I'm trying to make is always the nature of things is not such that you will know the bounds, right? जो मैंने stream का example दिया to you guys, in that, let's say a particular character comes, right? So how will that code look like? While stream letter, okay, not equal to, let's say, P, okay? And basically there is some logic here, which just keeps changing the stream letter, okay? So changing stream letter, right? And stream letter was of course a variable. Let stream letter initially ऐसे start हो रहा है, ठीक है? यहाँ पे कुछ लिखा हुआ था which we don't know about. Forget about that. That is changing the letter each time. So when do we want to stop? हम stop करना चाहते हैं भाई जैसे ही उस stream letter की value p हो जाए हमें रुक जाना, right? So in this case you can't really use a for loop, right? Because you don't know when that letter is going to come. It could be that वो 5th iteration पे आ जाए या फिर वो 50,000th iteration पे आए, right? So this could be a very interesting use case where you want to use a while loop and not a for loop. समझ में आ गया दोस्तों? Right? So when you don't know, at the end of the day, they all take a condition. आपको यहाँ पे एक condition लिखनी है अपने कोड में. Cool? अरे yes तो बोलो ना भाई, समझ में आया, नहीं तो नो बोलो. All I'm saying is when you do not know a condition, there are no bounds on a variable, then you use for loop, then you use while loop, because you don't know. So there's nothing, I can't say here, right? Stream letter less than 80,000. I can't do that. I can only put a condition on what the value of stream letter is. Cool? Shall I move forward? Okay, तो हमें while loop भी पता है, हमें for loop भी पता है, right? This is a good thing because now we know loops. Okay. Next thing is the concept of arrays. Okay, I've been wanting to do it for some time, but आज बात कर लेते हैं arrays की, right? Okay. So guys, just like JavaScript has, हमने अब तक data types की बात नहीं की है. यार मुझे आता नहीं है do while loop. Amit, Rabi, I don't know what do while loop is. First I'll have to learn it and then only I can teach it, right? मुझे अभी नहीं पता प्रतीक. I'll just try to think. अरे भाई मत लिखो ना चैट पे. Let me be the teacher यार. Rabia, please let me be the teacher. Or if you want to teach, I can unmute you and you can go forward. I will cover things in the way I like. Not in the way I like because I know what is right for you guys. So do not suggest topics. Do not try to act smart, please. Okay, so an array, right? In JavaScript and in many other languages, there is this concept of data types. Okay, so what are the data types जो अपने को अभी आते हैं उसकी बात करते हैं. So you guys know 3 data types, and I'm guessing you know 3 because I keep talking about them. The first is something called as Boolean, right? Boolean का मतलब होता है 2, right? So these are the data types which can have only 2 values. Okay, the value could be true or it could be false, right? जो भी हमने कंडीशंस लिखी हैं गाइस अब तक इफ के साथ, फॉर लूप के साथ, बेसिकली दे वर्क ऑन दिस, राइट? आपने जो भी ये लिखा, जैसे आपने लिखा स्ट्रीम लेटर नॉट इक्वल टू बी, राइट? सो बेसिकली वाइल को ये सब कुछ नहीं समझ में आता जो अंदर लिखा है. While only understands whether the thing which is written here is true or is it false. Okay. So whenever you say something in JavaScript, let's look at the console once. I said 1 is less than 2. It's true. 1 is greater than 2 is false. Right? किसी वेरिएबल में स्टोर करना है वो भी कर सकते हो. Let x is equal to 1 less than 2. Right? So now x के अंदर क्या वैल्यू है? X has true. Right? And जैसे ही मैंने किया type of x, right? So in JavaScript there is also another operator जिसकी मैं बात नहीं की थी अब तक because we didn't need it. It's called the type of operator. Type, typeof operator कहते हैं इसको. इसके सामने जो भी चीज लिखोगे ना, it will tell you the type of that. Pretty cool, right? So if I say type of 1, it says number, right? So JavaScript is pretty genius that way. Okay, so what are the 3 data types that you know? You know Boolean, which can either be true or false. You know numbers, बहुत use किए हैं इसलिए. And finally, you know string, right? String is a collection of characters, right? Characters कुछ भी हो सकते हैं. And उसकी speciality ये है that it's denoted in quotes. So whatever you write in quotes is a string, right? So here stream of letter A, it was a string. यहाँ पे P था, ये भी string था. ठीक है? These are individual characters. ठीक है? So if I say type of, ऐसे करके मैंने लिखा something, it's a string. Even if I keep it empty, it's a string. It's an empty string. Okay? A, P, whatever, it's a string. Right? So you know Boolean, you know numbers, and you know string, and I'm pretty sure you don't know any other. Okay, so I'm telling you a 4th one today, right? What is so cool about this guy? ये चौथे वाले के बारे में, it is different in the sense it has the capability of creating collections. Okay, collections क्या होता है हम समझते हैं. But before that, I'll just name this. It's called an array. ARRAY, right? English में array का मतलब होता है collection, right? Collection of things, right? So when I say I have array of phones, right? It means I have a list of phones. बहुत सारे phones हैं मेरे पास, right? In the world of JavaScript, it's denoted like this. Okay. Brackets, square brackets, right? इसके बीच में you put the values which are present in that array. Okay, let's understand this, of course, in the code. So I can have a variable because this is a data type. Data types ही variables में store होते हैं. So I say let x is equal to array, right? So now x is an empty array क्योंकि इस array में कुछ था नहीं, right? But इस array के अंदर आप कुछ भी डाल सकते हो, right? So I could have said let x is equal to a, b, C, and let's say 1 and 2 and 3, right? तो मैंने क्या किया guys, मैंने कॉमा लगा के मैंने आइटम्स डाल दिए इस लिस्ट के अंदर या फिर इस array के अंदर, right? So this is an array. Array is what? Array is a collection of items. ठीक है? क्योंकि अभी हमें data types यही वाले पता है. So array can be a collection of these data types. आप ये भी लिख सकते हैं कि let x is equal to this. आप यहाँ पे 2 डाल दो, यहाँ पे false डाल दो, which is completely fine. तो आप array के अंदर कुछ भी डाल सकते हो, right? But it's a collection of things. Okay. I'm pretty sure you got it. I'm not going to ask. Chat is anyway fast. Okay. Array, string, number, boolean. Cool. Okay. So what is so special about arrays? Okay. First thing is arrays are data structures. Okay. Data structure क्या होते हैं बात कर ही लेते हैं आज. Data structures are structures in some sense or objects. I won't use that word because you don't understand what that means. Arrays are a data structure. Data structures are some things which are used to organize data. ठीक है. Data को किस तरीके से रखना है is something what a data structure is literally all about, right? Sounds very easy, but it's going to kick your ass very soon. So this is what a data structure is. Array is a special type of data structure. Sari special hote hain. Why am I calling array special? Because array has some properties, right? Properties समझ लेते हैं एक बार. So of course it can have any number of elements which are put inside the array, right? So in this one, it has 8 elements. आपको दिखा रही है, right? Now डाल तो दिया एक बार कुछ एक array में, right? So inside X there are some things which are put. Now the question is, भाई जो चीजें डाली हैं, how do I get those things back, right? Right? So it could so happen that आप अपनी वेबसाइट बना रहे हैं, आपने एक array of images डाल दिया, right? This is what you're going to do soon. So in this array of images, there are, let's say, 500 images, right? And you want to get the 431st one, right? So how do you do that? Is a question that we are trying to answer. Okay. So first thing that you need to know about arrays is this. Array is a collection of things, right? So 1, 2, 3, true, false, whatever. False. And it could be very, very long. ठीक है, जितना आपके पास RAM है, उतना आप ये चीजें डाल सकते हैं. Okay. The point is, this is zero indexed. This is indexed. What does index mean? That every location of that array has an address. ठीक है? उस address को use करके you can get that element out, right? So when I said I want the 431st image or element in that array, I can refer to that using the index of the array. Index बोलते हैं array के अंदर के addresses को, right? How do I do that? Very simple. आपको सबसे पहली बात पता होनी चाहिए, array is zero index, right? So इसका मतलब है ये वाली जो position है 1, ये 0 पे lie करती है, 2 1 पे lie करता है, 3 पे lie कर 3 4 and ठीक है? So if I want to get this element, which is the fourth element, 1 2 3 4, I need to look at position number 3. Okay, and how do I look at that position? It's very, very simple, like this, right? So X की मुझे third position निकालनी थी, right? Third position will be second index. Okay, how do I refer the second index? I say X of, it's called of, and I say 2, right? And what it gives me back? It gives me back C, right? Because 2 with 0 1 2 is the third position, और इससे मैंने C निकाल लिया. मुझे अगर fifth निकालना है, so I can say X of 4, it will give me 2 again, which is this one, right? And if I say X of 5, it will give me 3. X of 6 will be true. Chart is unlocked. Guys, array समझ आ गया? Yes or no? कोई डाउट, कोई क्वेश्चंस जो मन में आ रहे हो, प्लीज पूछिए. अंकित भाई, कोई क्वेश्चंस हैं? यस सर, मत बोलो बलराम, क्वेश्चन पूछो है तो. टाइप ऑफ एक्स, यस आई लाइक दैट. टाइप ऑफ एक्स, if I do that, you are not going to like it. Type of X is an object, right? The reason is, in JavaScript, arrays are objects. अब ये कैसे हुआ अभी मत पूछना. I will explain this later. Any other questions? Array में similar data type ले सकते हैं. पूजा, why are you even asking this? आपको ये array दिख रहा है X, इसके अंदर similar data है या unsimilar data है? Different data है, right? कुछ numbers हैं, कुछ booleans हैं, कुछ strings हैं. So array is one of the data structures. बहुत सारे type के data structures होते हैं. Array एक type का data structure है. Data structure वो चीजें होती हैं जिसके अंदर data store करते हैं. Array एक data structure है. Can we take two outputs at the same time? No, you cannot. You can, you can just look at one of them by doing this. It will be a string, man. So it will be number as a string. Well, it's a string, right? So this thing is different from this thing, right? One is a string, one is a number. मोहम्मद भाई ये कैसा क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हो? array डेटा स्ट्रक्चर है, array को इस तरीके से रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं, array के अंदर आप डिसिमिलर डेटा डाल सकते हैं, जैसे हमने यहाँ पे डाला है x is an array. To access elements, एक तो डालने की चीज थी, to access elements inside the array, an array is 0 indexed. अगर आपको थर्ड एलिमेंट एक्सेस करना है, so you say x of 2. अगर आपको पहला एलिमेंट एक्सेस करना है, so you say x of 0. Okay. No sign. You cannot do that in JavaScript. If you do x of -1, it says undefined because -1 पे कुछ है नहीं. Venkata, I am mentioning this for the 5th time. This is x, which is an array, and मैंने इसके अंदर dissimilar चीजें डाली हैं. So of course, it does not have to be similar type of data. It can be anything. Yes, Pratibha, it's 0 indexed. So x of 0 is a, which means the first element. X of 8, 7 will be false, which is the last element. Quote is for string. number ही नहीं होगा ना अगर string डाल दोगे तो quotes में. If we do a of ये पता नहीं है, I don't know that syntax यार. Are we clear or not, guys? Any other questions? Anyone? So basically, array is used to store only data type. So basically, array is used. I don't know what that means. Array is used to store data. Yes. What do you mean negative values? No, you cannot. I just told you that. I don't know, Ayush. Guys, if you have a relevant question, please ask. Otherwise, I would really like to move forward. What do you mean how to access negative values? They will have an index of their own, right? That's not a valid question, yeah. If you have x is equal to, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, a true and -1. So x of 5 is going to be -1. What do you mean access negative values? Okay, I'm moving forward and I'm closing the chat. Type of x of 4 is this x of 4. So the type of x of 4 is Boolean. Type of x of 1 is a number. Okay, so we just talked about what arrays are, right? This is the very basic of arrays. I just want to introduce you to the concept of arrays, right? So let's just take a very simple question, okay? मान लो आपके पास एक array है, right? An array which is looking like this, okay? How do you, so okay, this is the question, right? I'm just going to copy this array. The question is like this. Print or console.log the type of each element in the array. So basically what I'm saying is there is an array X which looks like this, right? You have to tell, and of course it can have many more. So abhi there are probably 7 items, but let's say there are 7,000 items, right? So of course you can't go like saying console.log I don't know, x of 0, x of 1, x of 2. I mean, that way you will have to go on and on, like, right, for 7,000 terms. So how can you print all of these values, right, from 0 all the way to the end of the array? How can you do that? Okay, Mayank says for loop. Of course, loop is the way to go. Mayank, for loop कैसे लिखेंगे? Can you help me out? So basically, there needs to be a variable which starts from 0 and goes all the way to the end of the array, right? Mayank, shall I unmute you? Okay, go ahead, Mayank. Unmute.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Mayank.
I'm audible, sir.
Yes, perfectly.
Sir, we have to verify a first of all variable let x. First of all, sir, we write a for loop, sir.
Okay, how do I write that?
So for.
Okay.
And then, sir, I of x is equal to 0.
X को 0 कर दिया तो this is gone, right? How can you say x is equal to 0?
No, sir. We will. No, sir. Inside the for loop, sir.
अगर inside the for loop भी अगर आपने बोला let x is equal to 0, so आपने तो इसको 0 कर दिया, right? You're declaring x variable twice. You can't do that.
Sir, wait, sir. I will do, sir. And then, sir. And then, sir, x less than 8, sir.
नहीं, let's stop here. आप x नहीं यूज कर सकते ना.
What?
बाबा
Okay.
x already an array is stored. कोई और नाम नहीं आता क्या भाई?
Sorry, sir. I'm confusing. Sorry.
No, there's nothing to be sorry about. Very simple thing, man.
Okay, sir.
I ले लो, j ले लो, Mayank ले लो. X क्यों ले रहे हो?
Okay.
Variable का ही तो नाम है. Variable में you can put anything, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So let Mayank is equal to 0. That does not sound right. So let I is equal to 0.
And then, sir, I think it's going to be, sir, I less than 8, sir.
ठीक है. अब यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि मैंने आपको क्या बोला कि जरूरी नहीं है array का लेंथ 8 हो. लेट्स से array का लेंथ 7000 है. आपको पता नहीं array का लेंथ, तो क्या करोगे?
Oh, sir, then I don't know, sir.
Okay, no problem. Good attempt, man. Really
Thank you,
nice.
sir.
Mute yourself again. Okay, so guys, X is an array and it could be of a lot of length, right? Maybe you don't know the length. So the way to do that is JavaScript only gives you a way जिससे आपको directly array का length पता लग सकता है, right? So how you do that? You say X dot length, right? So the array, this array X, because X is an array, it has a property which is called length. When you say X dot length, उसने आपको 6 return किया, right? So basically, this will give you an option to check the length of the array, right? तो अब अपने को क्या करना है? अपने को I is equal to 0 से जाना है till the length of the array, right? So I'm going to say that I is equal to 0 and I is less than X dot length, right? Of course, incremented by 1. And then what do I do? Then what do I do, people? Console.log, ठीक है? क्या console.log करना है? Question पढ़ो ऊपर. Print the type of each element. I नहीं करना, X भी नहीं करना, C भी नहीं करना. Type of, ऐसे लिखते हैं. Type of what? भाई type of X तो array है या फिर object है. Type of X of I, right? Right, guys? समझ में आ रहा है सबको? Let's run this यहाँ पे. Enter. स्ट्रिंग 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 3 बार, नंबर 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 3 बार, बूलियन 2 बार। क्लियर? डोंट नो वरीज मैक। अब तो पता है लेंथ के बारे में। सिंपल इनफ। सिंपल इनफ, राइट? सर एड्रेस ऐसे ही तो निकालते हैं, x के आगे जो भी इंडेक्स लिख दोगे, दैट इज बेसिकली द रेफरेंस टू दैट। आपको एरे का जो भी लेंथ है, राइट, वहां तक जाना था अपने लूप में, राइट, लेस देन दैट। सो लेट्स से द लेंथ ऑफ एन एरे इज 6, राइट? टिल व्हाट पॉइंट डज योर वेरिएबल हैव टू गो? टिल 5। व्हाई? बिकॉज हमें पता है एरे इज 0 इंडेक्स्ड, x of 5 will be the 6th value, x of 0 will be the first value, right? तो मैंने क्या किया, I said x dot length, I is less than x dot length. टाइप, ये एक नॉनसेंस स्टेटमेंट है वेबर। इसका क्या मतलब हुआ, आप एक बार पढ़ो। यू सेड टाइप ऑफ 6, व्हाट डज दिस मीन? टाइप ऑफ 6 क्या होता है? टाइप ऑफ 6 एक नंबर है, राइट? सो दिस विल रिजॉल्व टू नंबर। So what you're basically writing is x of number, which does not make any sense because x के अंदर आप indexes लिखते हैं, right? x of 1 हो सकता है, x of 2 हो सकता है, x of 0 हो सकता है, but x of number is nonsense, right? Siddiq, it does not matter what the length is, you want to go till that point. आपको क्या फर्क पड़ता है 1000 है और 10,000 है? How does it matter to you? Guys, are we clear? Shall I move forward? Okay. I did not write I is less than x, I wrote I is less than x dot length. X dot length gives the length of the array. मुझे I को length of the array तक ही चलाना है। क्लियर है गाइस? हाँ या ना बोलो। ठीक है, okay, so now since we talked about all these things, array में data डालते कैसे हैं, right? एक तो है when we are declaring the array, so that time we can say let x is equal to this notation and 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 true, मतलब string abc true whatever आप डाल सकते हैं, right? But let's say आपको array के अंदर कुछ और add करना था इसके बाद, so right now x is this, right? Let's say you wanted to add an element in the array, right? How do you add something in the array, right? How do you basically push something in the array at the end, right? So like the word push, what you can do is you can say x dot push, and whatever you want to push, let's say I want to push false, I press enter and now x looks like this, right? उसमें true false चला गया. Let's say I want to push def, I can do like this, and now x looks like this. Clear? X dot push allows us to put items inside the array, right? Put items inside the array from the back side. Okay. So let's say again, let's take another question to understand this better. Let's say x was an empty array, right? Empty array. इसका मतलब x में कुछ भी नहीं है अभी. So even if you do x of 0, it does not make sense. It's undefined क्योंकि x के अंदर कुछ है नहीं. So what I want to do is I want to push in this array all the numbers from 1 to 100. How do I do that? मुझे 1 से लेके 100 तक के सारे में सारे एलिमेंट्स डालने हैं, such that when I say x of 0 मुझे 1 मिले, and when I say x of 99 मुझे 100 मिले. Code बताओ मिलिंद, how do I write the code? Okay, nice Akash. Let's talk about the middle case बाद में मुक्ता, अभी end से सीख शुरू करते हैं. We'll come to that, don't worry. Code बताओ भाई कोई, who wants to tell? I don't know my Ankit. Okay. For Bharti, code लिख रहे हो, please use the let keyword. For let I is equal to 0, I is less than 100, I plus plus, and then what do I write here? What do I write inside it? X dot push. If I do I, then it's a problem because I want numbers from 0 to 100, 1 to 100. So what do I push inside? X dot push I plus 1. Okay. And when I press enter, it should have done everything, right? So let's try X ke andar kya hai? I say X, right? And what do I see? X has all these numbers from 0 all the way to 100, right? Got it, guys? Okay, so push is used to add elements to the end of the array, right? Now, let's take another question. The question is like this. For every element inside X, right? Abhi ke liye X kya hai? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up all the way to 100, right? What I want to do is I want to change this and I want to double every element. Basically, हर element को मुझे 2 times कर देना है, guys. Okay, so अभी 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 है. मुझे चाहिए 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, all the way. Right? So of course, we have to iterate through all of the array. So we'll say for let I is equal to 0, I is less than x dot length, या फिर 100 भी लिख सकते हो because you already know the length, I plus plus, and what do I, no, when you say x dot push, what that will do is it will push things at the end of the array. You don't want to push, आपको चीजें change करनी है. So what you are looking to do is you need to do x of I is equal to 2 star x of I, right? So मैंने क्या बोला? X of I is basically 2 times x of I, right? So now when I press enter and I say x, everything basically has doubled, right? So 2, 4, 6 and all the way up till 200. Is this clear? So we learned how to add to an array. We learned how to edit an array, right? And निकालना तो हमें आता ही है. We can just say x of 5, we'll get 12. What is that but, Weber, if I'm waiting? You still not have asked me a question. What is the question? Sir, I want to get 2 to 98, 100 elements in an array value. What am I supposed to make out of this, Weber? Okay, Weber, I'm not able to understand. Pura likh lo ek saath and then just type it out. Add in the middle, I'll cover that later. Sir, I want to ask a question. Can you please unmute for a while? Ask the question in the chat. If I'm not able to answer it, I will unmute you. What is the question? Hey, what do you want to, Vaibhav, can I unmute you? Vaibhav, can I unmute you? Can you ask your question with voice? Go ahead, unmute yourself.
हेलो सर।
Hello, Vaibhav.
सर आपने सर 2 वैल्यूज लिए ना सर अभी, मतलब 100 तक वैल्यूज लिए ना फॉर लूप में,
Okay.
तो उसमें सर 298 तक वैल्यू नहीं आएंगे फिर। आपने कैसे सर 2468 तो 200 तक ले लिए सर वैल्यू, इसलिए पूछा सर मैंने 200 तक कैसे लिए वैल्यूज।
मैंने क्या लिया यार, मैंने x के अंदर क्या पुश किया यहाँ पे? I have pushed all the numbers from 1 to 100.
हाँ
ये
यस सर,
समझ में आपको?
यस सर।
उसके बाद मैंने यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है, इस लाइन को पढ़ो सर। Let I is equal to 0, I is less than x dot length.
यस
ये है
सर।
0, x dot length कितनी है?
x डॉट लेंथ 100 तक है ना सर?
100 है, बिल्कुल 100 है।
यस सर।
आपने 100 चीजें पुश की है, यहाँ 100 लिखा है।
Yeah.
I प्लस प्लस, फिर मैंने बोला x of i
यस
is equal to 2 times x of i. तो 2
Yes.
और 98 का फंडा कहाँ से आया?
मुझे लगा सर 2, मतलब मैं समझा सर कि एक्चुअली तुमने 2 नंबर की वैल्यू लिया होंगे, मतलब इंडेक्स लिया होगा 2 नंबर से 2 4 ऐसा, वो समझा सर।
यार समझो मत, मतलब don't assume stuff ना, code is written in front of you. I have only said x of i is equal to 2 times x of i.
ओके सर।
Okay, I think we are clear. Bharti, you've asked the question on direct message. How is memory allocated for an array? It's sort of an advanced question. I don't want to take it right now. Once we are slightly deeper into JS, we'll talk about it. And guys, shall we stop today? Okay, let me do this. I'll just stop here, and please just start going through the previous lectures because you guys forget stuff. Not true, Bharti. JS works in a different way, but again, Bharti, आप गलत कर रहे हो. Basically, I think you have knowledge of C++, and then you're just trying to bring it here. Don't do that. If you don't know an address, you can't get that value. All you can do is you can print the whole array. Guys, sessions are going to be superb only now that we've started with JavaScript and we have some experience with coding, you guys. So it's going to take a while. Like I told you guys, things will lift off slowly because आप लोगों को coding बिल्कुल नहीं आती है, right? Most of you guys. Once you know, it will be a lot of fun, right? For you also. In the way, see, it's always fun for me because I love teaching, but आपको basics तो सीखने पड़ेंगे ना. That's why I keep telling you guys, be patient, book पढ़ो, but very nice, man. See, Shivanshu, this is a very bad question, and I'll tell you why. If you want to change some value at particular index, मैंने आपको यहाँ पे करके दिखाया. You can simply say x of 46, जो कि अभी 94 है, make that, I don't know, 1001, right? So do you want to change the value at some index? Because when you say you want to add some value at an index, it will mean baki values kahan jayenge. So the value which was existing there, what do we do with that value? Go ahead, Pratibha, ask your question. I don't know any other languages, Amol, so I can't say. Pratibha, what is your question? Please go ahead. Yes, please go ahead. Class is over, so I can answer that. Difference between section and div. Like I had mentioned when we talked about CSS, div is a container which can have anything inside it. There is no restriction to it, right? Div के अंदर आप literally अपना पूरा नया HTML भी लिख सकते हैं. It doesn't mind that. So div is used for making those divisions, right, inside the document. This is a container, right? While section is a very different type of tag, as Javed also mentions. It is used to create various sections in your HTML page, right, or on your web page, right? So if I open the definition, I've just opened the definition in front of you. Can you see this? Can you see my screen? Let me just open this thing. Okay. I think it's not shared. Anyway, the point is, guys, think of it like this, right? When you're building your web page, right? To make your web page, when you look at the code, the HTML code of your web page, it's better if you're able to see everything in different places or different modules, right? So a footer section, a header section, a menu section, you can divide it into various sections, right? And that's where the concept of section comes in, right? आप एक section दे सकते हैं जिसकी आप class लिख देंगे footer, आप एक section दे सकते हैं जिसकी class आप लिख देंगे header, right? So it's just a way of writing code. The browser is able to understand that as different sections, but div is a general tag, जिसमें आप कुछ भी डाल सकते हैं. No, I will not share it in the chat. I will push it in on the GitHub. You can take it from there. Pushed. I can make section, yeah, correct. Any other questions? Yes, guys, you may leave. Good night, Mukta. Thank you for joining. Bye-bye, Pratibha. If you do not know the address, right, or the index of, let's say 134, आपको पूरा array check करना पड़ेगा. You'll have to go through the whole array. Specifically for loop questions, I'm not sure, Saurabh. You can just Google loop questions probably. It should give you some good sense of it. Nested scope. Are you talking about nested scope of what nested scope are you talking about?